All right, so joining me today on my community ally is Pete Baroody with Baroody Camps. Pete, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to join me.
Yeah, sure. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So full disclosure, I met Pete, gosh, 5 or 6 years ago when he started doing camps at Little Hunting Park. I was part of the
Mhm.
board that brought him on to do camps for our pool, which were very successful. It does get hot outside, and so with no indoor space, I think we changed things around a little bit. But we loved having him here, and uh, I really appreciate what he did as far as camps, and my daughter went to those camps, and I adored them. So Pete is here with us today to talk about not only what he does in general for camps, but this is a new time for all of us, and there are some new things that they've implemented that I think are really creative and really great. So thanks again, Pete. And
Sure.
so I know you are native to this area, which is much like me,
Mhm.
so we're kind of unicorns in that sense. Why camps? Why did you start there?
I actually didn't start there. I started as a in college. I thought I was going to go into political science and develop a job on the Hill. Just my family had been a part of that, and then I was at one of my nephew's birthday parties, and the conversations I was having with these kids, it felt so natural, and so I went from a political science major, graduating slightly early, to somebody who was seeking out a job at St. Mary's, Catholic school. And it became something that just I really got a lot out of. So after a little bit of time teaching, I actually was reached out to by a couple principals about running summer camps, and so I just continued with that. I got to be an entrepreneur and still work with kids and do things that I truly enjoy. So
You taught PE at St. Mary's, correct?
yeah, I taught PE there, and to be honest with you, it's summer camps. I feel like is the direction that PE takes. It's really deals with social emotional wellness, and that's what we see every day as PE teachers is really opportunities to help kids fail in a safe environment, and then give them the tools to be able to excel. So
Well, that's wonderful. So
yeah.
I know you're talking about that you were brought into this. So are there any programs that you're particularly proud of or that people request or fill up really fast?
There's, our basketball is pretty popular. Really, a lot of the partners we've gotten to is working with a lot of different vendors and partner providers. Other teachers have really kind of honed their skills and their niche, and so we kind of bring those together into kind of a platform at each school so that we get to highlight all these amazing teachers. And I say right now for online courses, our magic camp and our dance camps are really filling up. The other academic ones, the fun ones, are still good because there's an opportunity for one-on-one differentiation. It's the sports ones that are struggling a little bit more when you have to talk about differentiation, whether it's a team sport where you're competing against somebody else. But there's really opportunities for a lot of diverse offerings online right now. So.
Which brings me to your virtual camps. Can you
Mhm.
talk a little bit about how they're set up?
Sure. So from the very beginning, when all this hit us, we were trying to be something that, um, you look and see all this craziness and scariness, and you want to try and help, and you felt helpless. Somebody who's like me, and I'm sure a lot of other people like me, who are a little bit, a little bit hyper. You need to move more. You need to be active, and sitting at home with your kids, which is plenty of work, is great. Mine are a little bit older, so I felt like I had to give back, and immediately we got into offering free online courses, just a couple here and there where I was, running a workout, or then I would run a variety hour where we talk about different things. We play games, we'd do some science research, and then it grew into other, helping other vendors get their classes out there. And so it became something where people could get a piece and a taste of what these great teachers are doing in a quick way. So we said, let's go ahead and set up a spring break camp. So we did about 28 free classes the week of spring break, and kids were, we averaged about 60 or 70 kids per Zoom class that week. And it was a great way for these teachers to highlight what they do in, a confined area. We had a couple other instructors on just to make sure things run smoothly. And it was awesome. And from there, we decided to continue with the enrichment, which was, those 1 hour classes. But then we decided to really help out and fill the kind of need that we felt was there from schools. Like Fairfax County was struggling to get up and running. I think once they did, it was great. Falls Church City was struggling to find, I think they took like 2 or 3 weeks off, and it was, kids are looking for not necessarily academics or, um, you know, things like that. They wanted something for social, emotional wellness, just to connect. And so we felt like this was our opportunity to help. And so it turned into something that we were helping lots of people. We're helping parents, we're helping kids, and we're helping these teachers that are looking for. There was a huge drop in revenue for their classes, and all of a sudden, we were able to come in and help them fill that need a little bit. So it was something cool. And for the virtual classes, there's some positives and there's some negatives, but we are doing a pretty good job, and the kids are loving them. So
Yeah, I look through them, and as soon as we're done with school, it's one step at a time for us.
yeah,
So,
absolutely.
but they're already starting for anybody that would like to look them up. Is there a cap that you have for the virtual ones, or can you sign up?
So it depends on the class. Sometimes, if we haven't hit the cap, because the way that we did those 50 to 100 person demos, that was really just like a demo. So it wasn't much interaction. And the value of these classes isn't necessarily the stuff that you get to do, it's who you're doing it with. And so the teachers really are the highlight of the classes. And those, if you can't interact one-on-one with them, then it's not necessarily worth its value. So you want to cap it, at 16. I think we're doing a drones class, for instance, where we're taking kids through drones and building that. And it was hard to do in school, but here it's amazing. Like when you can have individual attention, and you got parents joining in that actually want to do something super cool, it becomes a little bit easier. So each class is different. So we're trying to find out which ones would work and how much each one would work with. For instance, I would recommend, if you're doing a basketball class, I would recommend a one-on-one trainer, if that's at all possible, just for a short amount of time, just because they can watch you and help you develop. So something like that.
Right, it's like a coach from a distance.
Exactly.
Yeah,
To get something out of it.
that's wonderful. So you guys give back a lot in general. Is there something overall that you're most proud that you guys do?
I think I feel really good about my staff. We've had, over this time, we are not immune to the financial instability, and it's been a rough time. But as the resiliency of my staff has been really great, and they are loyal to me and the vision, and because the vision is not about me, the vision's about connecting kids with great people. And I feel really good about what we're able to do. I see it in the kids' faces. I'm able to drop in on only Zoom classes. I'm teaching a couple Zoom classes, and you can see the appreciation and the joy that comes not just from the kids that need the teacher interaction, but it comes from the teachers that need the kid interaction. And I feel, really good about that.
You have a coach who I know very well and adore. And so I feel you on that. You've got some good people in that team beyond the ones that were at the pool before. But
sure.
So so I know you're basketball. If you weren't going to do a basketball camp, what would you join?
If I were to participate in a class, it would be, some of our partners provide outdoor activities like, fishing or biking. Those things are fun. I think some sort of, general day camp where I can pick and choose what I want to do every day, which is, we push these kids to try something new, whether it's a science experiment led by a teacher or art project or, scavenger hunts, things like that. And those are all part of our general day camp, which we, hope to have up and running next summer. Doesn't look like it's going to happen this year. We actually are going to do small in-person groups where, parents can get together with their, neighbors or something that they feel comfortable with. And then we would send or recommend an individual to come and lead that group, because that's really, all it takes. And to be honest with you, I'm noticing that summer camp might take a huge hit next year too, if people see what they're capable of. I mean, kids are out wandering by themselves in groups, and it's awesome to see for me. And that's kind of what I liked as a kid, was growing up and just picking and choosing what I wanted to do. It was fun.
Right. Ride bikes to 7-Eleven
Yeah.
or whatever it may be. That was my youth in
Sure.
Arlington. So we didn't grow
Absolutely.
up too. Yeah. So you don't think you're going to do any in-person camps? Can people figure out these community camps that it sounds like you're doing?
Gotcha. So the small in-person community ones, those are something where they would just reach out to us on our website and say, hey, I've heard about yours. And then we try to put something together for them. We'd send them a link to a form where they fill out they've got to come up with all the parameters, and we come up with the people and, the supplies and that type of stuff. So it's not ideal, but it actually turns out it might be, a good situation for everyone involved, because it's closer, it's safer, it's it's a lot of fun. So
Yeah, and I have seen, it seems like every group of people have decided, all right, well, this 10 or 12 is kind of who we're going to stick with. We know their habits. We know that the life side, their lifestyle as far as how much they're going out is comfortable for everybody. And we've had mostly outdoor play dates. Even if they play on their electronics, we set them 6 feet apart outside.
Yeah.
It's nice to be outside and have fresh air, but it's safer that way. And so, so I think that there probably is a big want for this, because at this point it's all parent run, right? Like we have to come up with it all and figure it all out. But if we could have an adult come over and handle that part of it, and our only job on the other side was to relax, I mean, I can't think of a parent right now that would think that was a bad idea.
No, I don't think parents should be above or beyond a co-op where you got 5 kids in the group and you got 1 day a week. Imagine how I think that's, as much as that goes against what, I'm trying to do to build my business, which is get, more and more kids in front of some great counselors that I've provided. Really, I care about the health and wellness of our generation, this next generation, where that might be a great option, not just this summer, but really every summer. It's cheaper. It's, I have tons of overhead, so it's much less expensive. And if you got people that are willing to do it, it's pretty fun. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to that either. I do think there's something about that same group of adults being able to sit down and have a conversation outside. We're adding more outside seating at our house just so that we could have kind of little spots where we could talk from 6 feet away. So the adults, not nearly as much as the kids, I don't think, but need that connection as well. So to have somebody else be able to come over and do it.
Well, you'd be surprised. You think they wouldn't need it, but that's where they're coming home from work and they're not at work, and that's where they're getting most of their social interaction, and they're zoomed out, and it's hard. So
absolutely, I agree. I do think most of our minds are developed at this point, so we understand the whys. Whereas trying to explain to somebody who's 5, 7, 10, 12 that they can't see their friends for 3 months at this point is hard. Yeah, and they're used to climbing on them at school, or playing ball with them. Zoom meetings aren't the same for sure. Yeah. So, do you see next year how this will change how you set up for camps?
I think in a good way it will. It'll by then, Department of Social Services, which oversees most of our camps, will have some guidelines for us to follow, and they do a great job of outlining what we need to do to hire the right people, for ratios, for keeping things clean, for keeping kids safe. And so I will definitely be diving into that. And then there's other organizations that really help pool ideas about the best way to get kids safe. And I'm always about, like, there are some camps that are like just numbers, but I want to make sure that my counselors are happy. And if they're overwhelmed by kids, they can't be quite as happy, and now they won't be as safe. So we want the counselors to be happy, and the happier the counselors are, the happier the kids are. The happier the kids are, the happier the parents are. So it's just I think we are going to try and make sure that we have options indoor and outdoor any summer, but next summer especially. So
do you think you might want to branch into a wider web and see if there are any maybe facilities that weren't open to services before? Because potentially you could have more camps at more places in smaller
Absolutely.
groups, right? That's kind of the,
Yeah, absolutely. And you just got to talk to them about what their financial agreement would be, because that obviously would be passed on to the parents, and you want to make sure that it's feasible. I
right.
talked to a couple schools and churches about options for this year, just so that we could run small groups in there for parents, or for kids who have parents that are necessary workers, or frontline workers, and want to make sure that they've got childcare. And so they're willing to work with us. I just want to make sure I don't want to get my staff, put them in sort of any harm's way. So I'm trying to avoid that. So it's a
Right.
weird time trying to figure all this out.
Right, because there's the health perspective for what's going on in the world, but then there's also when you're outside and it's 90 degrees,
Yeah.
to go is inside, right? And
Yeah,
so our
absolutely.
so today is going to be 90,
I
and I
know.
know that that's kind of your cutoff when you're like, all right, we gotta like chuck it inside for a little bit to
Yeah.
cool people down.
Yeah, and that's
Absolutely.
kind of where those neighborhood groups can say, hey, let's take an hour break, go inside, cool down, come back out and meet. And actually, our neighborhood groups, you can actually join from there some of our online classes for afternoon. Say it's too hot or say it's raining. You guys can join remotely with our, a module that we've got going on at 1 o'clock, for instance, of science, or you can join an art class at, 2:15. If you were to sign up for in-person groups, you would be able to
How,
have that option.
how far out are your camps lined up now virtually? Do you have them through the whole
Uh,
summer or just through the next? I
you
went through
can,
a couple weeks, so.
Yeah, we can do a couple weeks. I think we're up to, we might have it all planned out in terms of, the offerings, whether or not they're not all planned yet though. So, but we'll take signups as long as people want them. So, and we'll
Right.
adapt.
So in Fairfax County, I know a lot of, as you mentioned, the stuff that you guys are doing is Alexandria City. Alexandria City has said that they're going to have an additional month of summer school.
Hmm.
Is that something they've asked you to help facilitate in any way for kind of some of
No,
the more fun stuff? No? Okay.
no. I mean, we reached out to them. I really think Alexandria has done a pretty good job. Just from the little research I did, they seem to be taking care of their groups. They've got a very diverse population, so they're on it. I think Fairfax County is, they stumbled out of the gate, but I feel like they really came back and came on strong. I was just doing some research on some of their teachers, and I thought we were being creative and flexible, but you take away these overarching responsibilities and the red tape, and these teachers are amazing and doing a great job, like in engaging these kids and finding out what's most important. It's pretty cool. And same with Arlington and Falls Church, I feel like, and that's kind of our wheelhouse
Yeah.
of those 4 districts. And I was really impressed with all of them. So they're doing a great job.
Fairfax County, to be fair to them, for whatever it's worth, is substantially larger than the other three mentioned.
Oh,
Like
of
Arlington,
course.
6 square
Oh,
miles. So they
it
have
was
they
not
have
an easy
a lot of,
ask.
yeah, absolutely.
No, and the reason why they stumbled out of the gate was obvious. I mean, it's just you have so many different districts in there, and it is not easy. But I feel like they caught up and are ready for whatever comes their way in the fall, and that's all you can ask.
Right, I
Like,
agree. So speaking of the fall, the
mm,
word in Fairfax County at the moment, we are supposed to hear from the governor today and maybe
wow.
right now. And they're saying that there's a good chance that the younger kids, especially, aren't going to start school until January in a
Mm.
physical way. Is this something that you would consider, running through those kind of holiday, winter, fall seasons to get people through?
Yeah, I think those small groups would be very helpful, and whenever there's a problem, there's always opportunity to help. So we would be, definitely interested in something like that where we can help out, those smaller groups, people who are comfortable, whether it's, a group of 5 or 6 kids in the same class almost, that we would go in and send one of our instructors to help get through, maybe a morning, and then give them, they can sign up online with some other stuff, but really help them, as much as possible, find some space. It is very interesting, the different variables that everyone's taking into account and trying to adjust. Everyone's got their own mission. I think it's smart to be as cautious as people are. So I appreciate them being out in front of this, which is good.
Right. We have no idea what the future brings. I mean, this could get worse before it gets better for some people.
I know, absolutely.
That just having those ducks in a row is definitely.
I know it means they're planning, and you don't have an opportunity to plan when it hits you the way it did on March 13th, but now it's like they're getting their ducks in a row and they're really figuring this out, which I commend them for.
Would you run online based programs through that time?
I think my worst case scenario in our mind, and we're planning for this, is we don't go into a school at all next year. And we've been in 26 schools every single day for, the last 3 or 4 years. And, that's the worst case scenario. We're planning for that, where we can go in and just offer these parents some enrichment and keep these other vendors working and engaging and give these kids opportunities outside of school. And best case scenario, we go back in the fall, but who knows if that's going to happen.
All right. So do you have any final thoughts for us, Pete?
I know that parents are looking for something for their kids, and I know that they want to connect their kids, and that's really the most important thing, is teaching kids how to, build, create, and foster, and even fix relationships. That's like number one for really anything. And everyone's worried about the financial gap, and there's going to be a financial gap, and people are worried about the academic gap, and that's definitely coming. But I really want people to be able to feel good about filling in the social emotional gap, and that can happen in any sort of interaction. So that's what people need to really focus on when they're worried about their kids. I think there's other options out there for filling those other needs, but really social emotional should be job one for us as educators and for parents. So
yeah, I agree completely. Well, I want to thank you for taking time out of your day and joining us today on My Community Ally. And I do appreciate you and appreciate what you're doing. And I thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. It was good talking to you.
Yes, absolutely. I will chat with you soon.
All right. Thank you so much.